Oh, best beloveds, greetings one, greetings all. We're coming up on the chapter that tells about me in the coma that really was a turning point for me. This is deeply personal more than anything, and this is the first time I've spoken about it outside of the people I care about, so this is very important to me. Now, before I begin, I have to say this. There are two things I need to mention. One, that even if the conscious mind does not get something, the subconscious does. And it tries to tell you what's happening around you. It tries to tell you, but it can't speak straight. And so it tells you in dreams. Kind of like what happened to oracles when they're in the past. So anyway, also, the other thing I want to say is that my idea of afterwards or heaven is not clouds, halos, wings, harps, and stuff like that. No, I really have not liked that. I thought it was a stupid idea. What I think it is, or the afterlife in period, is that you get to do something you love doing. And you don't even know that eternity is passing because, of course, you're distracted by what you love doing. Now, this is exemplified for me in a short story called The Misfortune Cookie by Charles E. Fritch. It was also made into a Twilight Zone episode about a long story short. It's a guy who loves Chinese restaurants. He ends up, through a series of mishaps, ends up dying and finds himself in a Chinese restaurant. Well, he can't leave it, but he can order all he wants for free. So he's in his version of heaven. Now, before I talk about what I have to say, I have to tell you this also, is that as you may or may not have heard, I like visiting places. I like exploring. I like doing that. But even more than that, I like interactivity, both myself and for stuff I'm doing. And I like to absorb information. That's what I like to do. And so what I used to go and do before all this happened was I'd go to conventions, I'd go to garage sales, I'd go to not hobby stores, but thrift stores, because I liked looking at everything there, and pawn shops, because I liked looking at the stuff, and I liked interacting with it. Anyway, so I am gonna start my story. It's basically I had a near death experience in my dream, or in a coma, and everything changed after I had it. So the first thing that is that sorry about that. I'm a little bit hesitant. What happened was I was sitting there, lying there in a coma, and I didn't know consciously what was going on. But subconsciously, I probably heard the doctors and people talking about I'm supposed to be dead. Okay, fine. Anyway, this is what happened. In my dream, I was back to normal. I was driving my Mini Cooper or Clubman when it happened. And I drove to Burien Plaza in Seattle, Washington. And next to the left of the Seaford or the U.S. Bank, there usually is a strip mall stores. Well, there was only one store there this time, and it was a pawn shop or a thrift store. So I figured, why not? I'm killing some time before I had to do something that'll become important because I don't know what it was. But anyway, I look at the thrift store, and first up, it's huge. I look in the furniture section first for some reason, and I see all this unique and individual and cool looking furniture. Don't know why I was looking at the furniture, but I went from the furniture section to the main section, and I was looking at the bins and shelves, and it was filled with like interesting, cool, and just stuff that could have kept me occupied for hours if I looked at it. But what happened was I ended up at the books, magazines, and periodicals section. And it was amazing because there was books I've always wanted to read, stories, and newspapers and weeklies and stuff, and just basically stuff I wanted to read again. And I loved basically I wanted to read it for the first time and stuff like that. Well, the lady behind the counter started up a conversation with me. She was a Susie Sue and a banshee looking young lady with white pale skin, dark hair, black, and looked like a little punk girl. As I said, Susie Sue and the banshee is what she looked like. She had a golden ink on her as a necklace. As jewelry / necklace. And said if I wanted to, I could stay if I want to, and they can open the rest of the store and let me look in the back and stuff. And I was really tempted. Now, I wanted to more than anything. I really wanted to. Now, before I continue, the lady that was behind the counter, if anybody is a comic book geek like me, would know it's Vertigo's DC version of Death. And Death in the DC Vertigo series looks like a punk rock girl who looks like Susie Sue and the Banshees. Okay, nice enough. Always nice, but she was wanting to take me into afterlife, I guess. That's what I'm been able to piece together. And I had to heard the doctors or friends talk about I was supposed to be dead, so I almost went because I wouldn't have had any problem. I mean, I personally wouldn't have had problems, but people were expecting that of me dying, so it would have caused no problems. But anyway, I look at her. I'm really tempted to do it. But I said something that just changed everything. I said, I have something I have to do first. Can I come back tomorrow and do this? She said, well, I don't know if we'll be here tomorrow, but you can do it if you have to. And I'm like, okay, I will be back tomorrow because I really want to look at all this stuff. So anyway, I get back in my car. I go outside, get in my car, and take off. Now, I don't know what I was doing or what I had to do that was so important to distract me from this. But I come back the next day. Not only is the store closed, it's like it was never there at all. Back where it was are the strip mall stores that were there originally. So I don't know what happened to them. And I didn't think about this until after I regained consciousness. But basically, that was me having a don't go in the light moment. And because I didn't know what I turned away from death, and everything my coma turned from me exploring and stuff to a final theme came up after this, and it became more or less, you'll hear about when I get to it, but it became like a nightmare for me. But because I defied and said no, I don't want to go, I guess. But anyway, it was really interesting to talk about this stuff. Or not going into the light. I didn't know what to call it, but I thought about it afterwards, and this does it. And for the longest time, I had no clue why I turned away. Not that I want to die, not that I'm suicidal or anything, I'm not. But it was weird because I could have gone on to the next life, and I'm not really religious, so it struck me as where this happened. But, I would have had no regrets had I gone on. Oh, but instead I laughed and said, no, not today. And I went back. And as I said, for the longest time, I had no idea why. About a month ago, I had an inspiration. I think the reason I turned back and came back and working hard now, is because I want to inspire other people to have what I had. And it's like, you know what? I could have gone. That would have been selfish of me, though. I wanted other people to see I'm here. I'm for them. I wish to be there for you. Okay? I know it sounds weird that I say it, but it's believable. Trust me. And hopefully, people hear this story and hear how I turned from death and my near-death experience, because not only did I start my road to recovery and getting out of the coma, it also cured it. I want to say cured, but not really a disease or anything. But I really hated to think about dying. I used to. Now it don't scare. I mean, I always told people, oh, I could die now or I can die in 10 seconds. No big deal. But, there's always a little part of you that says, no, I don't want to die. But nowadays, it don't scare me. If it happens, it happens. So, but that's what happened, my near-death experience. I know it sounds kind of cheesy, and I probably am not describing it as cool as I could be, but it was mine. It was a moment I realized I could go on, but I didn't want to. I wanted to come back. Not for selfish reasons, but just to be there for people. So, anyway, I'm blow bleeding again. Anyway, I hope you all have a good day. I hope that you get the impact it had on me. And I hope to help someone. If they need help, I'm hoping they can find this email or this not blog, blog, I guess, or podcast, or whatever you want to call it. And hopefully they get some inspiration. Trust me, that stuff will be coming soon after I get out of the coma, but I had to talk about the coma because I wanted to talk about this. Anyway, I'm talking again, rambling. I hope you all are well, okay? Remember, this brain dead guy cares about everybody and wants to make sure they have as easy as possible, okay? You guys take care and have a good day, okay? Bye. I'm sorry this is late, by the way, but I've been really nervous about this one because I didn't want to mess it up. But as my therapist says, nobody's perfect. It's going to be messy. I understand it now. Okay? You guys take care. Bye-bye.